Clive and Mark,
Yep.
authors of a book that you might just be interested in. Guys, if you'd like to share a little bit.
Yeah, the book's called Flying Over an Olive Grove. It's the story of Fred Spiksley's life, and Fred was a Gainsborough lad born in 1870 who went on to play for Trinity in the 1880s. He was one of the club's first professional footballers and one of the game's first professional footballers. The side that he played in was an incredibly successful one, and they won the league that they were in 1890 to 91, at which time he went off to play for Sheffield Wednesday, and he later played for England. The book itself is 128,000 words long. It includes an unrivaled selection of photographs from the era in which Fred played, including the earliest Action FA Cup final photographs, a game in which Fred scored 2 goals, and the earliest ever photograph that we're aware of a goal scored in an international game. Fred himself was, at the time when he started first to play for Trinity, a young apprentice in the local newspaper. And what happened was that he lost his apprenticeship because he went off gambling. He went to the race course. This would have been a real blow for his family, except for one thing, and that was that he was a very good footballer. He had already started to play for Trinity, and the result of this was that it was pretty obvious that Trinity needed to sign him as a professional footballer. The problem was that the man who had sacked him, Charles Caldecott, from the newspapers, was also the owner of Trinity, and he was well aware of the fact that when Trinity did well, the local newspaper sold a lot more copies. So he had a bit of a problem. He sacked Fred from his apprenticeship, and he now wanted him to sign professionally for Trinity. So he did what all good businessmen would need to do. He swallowed his pride. He realised and understood that this young lad was a great footballer, was going to go on to be a great footballer, and he agreed with his father that he would re-employ him on his apprenticeship as long as he would sign professional football for Trinity. And from there, the rest is a long history. But the most significant thing was that, of course, he played on the North Home. He was an exceptionally talented player in terms of the fact that, in particular, that he used outside of his foot to pass the ball. When he left Trinity, he went on to play for Wednesday. He scored both goals for the side when they won the Cup in 1896. 3 years previously to that, he scored a hat-trick for England against Scotland. And at that particular game, the future Queen of England ran up and down the touchline shouting, "Come on, Fred." So he was a big star. Later, after he played for Wednesday up to 1903 and Wednesday had won the league, he went on to act on the stage with Charlie Chaplin on 30 to 50 occasions. He was subsequently the first man to coach on 3 continents. He was coach in Sweden, he was a coach in Peru, Mexico, the USA, and for Nuremberg when they won the German championships in 1927. 2 years after that, he made the first speaking piece of work aimed at young people, encouraging them how to play football, which you can still catch online at this current time. He was also a man who was in Germany when the war started, and he was chucked into prison. Typical Fred, he managed to escape. He was a womanizer and a great gambler. He wasn't actually a great gambler because he kept losing lots of money and he went bankrupt. He actually dies in 1948 running to collect his winnings on Ladies' Day at Goodwood. The book is 128,000 words long, and it will be on sale in the Trinity bookshop and obviously throughout the internet and other things. My colleague, I just used the words, my colleague here, Clive, and his dad are descendants of Fred, and they've spent 20 odd years doing the research for what is a extremely good football book, one worth, I would argue, I've written many football books in the past, but this is a particularly unique. It's been a great privilege to work on it.
For me, it's really important that the book is available in Gainsborough. My family's from Gainsborough. I found out that I was related to Fred Spiksley just round the corner from the North Home, and I've been coming to the North Home since about 1989. It is a Gainsborough story. When Fred was doing all his professional football tricks, winning the FA Cup, playing for England and scoring hat-tricks for England. And even when he was playing for Sheffield Wednesday, he lived in Gainsborough. He did try and move to Sheffield, but the atmosphere there actually made him quite ill, the steelworks in the Victorian ages. And at one time they thought he was going to die. So because he was such an important player for Sheffield, they actually allowed him to come and train and live in Gainsborough instead, away from the rest of the team. So all of his professional football career, with the exception of about a year and a half, he did live in Gainsborough and was a hero within the town. Very, very few people will be aware of him. The Spiksley name is still known a little bit in Gainsborough, but not very much anymore. And really, I'm looking forward to bringing Fred's story and the name of Spiksley back to a new audience in Gainsborough, and I'm really hoping that the town come out and support us.
Can I just finally say, within the book, obviously it would be impossible to have published all of the photographs that's been collected, so Clive and his dad and myself are going to make sure that those photographs are available for the club to use in other ways, on its display boards, in its programmes, and in such a way we hope that the Trinity fans in particular will get to see a lot more than is actually in the book, of course. Thanks.